Hey guys, how's it going? It's Tara. Today's topic is a little bit on the heavier side. The title is pretty self-explanatory. I am a Christian, not a doormat. I just wanted to sit down with you guys and open up and just be totally vulnerable with you. I'm wearing a hat because I have hat hair, you guys. I really apologize, you guys. I'm not with it today. There is no makeup, didn't do my eyebrows. We are in my bedroom. Nothing fancy. I've been wanting to film for you guys for quite some time and I just haven't been able to. I've been going through some things. You guys could see evidently my last couple of videos, they were not up to par. They weren't up to my standards, and for that I'm completely sorry. I have been going through a lot over this last year. Last several years actually. It wasn't until this year that God really started revealing more and more to me and started putting the puzzle pieces together, if you will. I will link a couple of videos in the description box below if you want to get a little bit more background on this story. My husband and I chose to leave a church in May of 2016, so this year. We have chosen to not come forward for many reasons because I still love the people at that church. It's hard for me to believe that I am in this situation now, but I can't allow this to go on any longer. I was extremely hesitant to make this video because I am not here to cause anyone to have a faith crisis or church crisis. I don't want my opinion to persuade you or cause you to struggle with your relationship or walk with Jesus. With that said, I also feel 100% responsible and accountable to you guys because there are a lot of people who have experienced the things that I have gone through. I feel held accountable as a Christian to speak up. I bear the responsibility as a Christian if I do not bring light to bad situations that are going on in the church, then I am partially responsible or to blame for anything that happens to you guys, if that makes sense. It is my responsibility as a Christian to hold other Christians to much higher standards. As leaders in the church, you are held to much higher standards. When watching this video, please bear in mind that there is a lot that is not being said. I choose to not gossip for a reason. And first and foremost, I am not a good friend. As a Christian, godly woman, I do not tolerate adultery, gossip, lying. I just don't tolerate it. For some reason, the world says that when you have a friend, you need to enable them. You know, if they're having an affair, you look for an excuse so that you can justify your friend's reasoning for having an affair. Whereas I tend to confront the issue head on. I'm just not a good friend. I have found over the years that friends tend to want you to enable their bad behavior or just accept them for who they are regardless of their lack of standards or your standards. It's like they don't care. They want you to conform almost. If you are to be their friend, then you have to conform. You can't have a difference in opinion because then you're not friends. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that with friendships or relationships before, but honestly, that's why I'm not a good friend. I tend to hold people to much higher standards than they hold themselves. I've come to understand that it is hard for a lot of people to live out a life of faith. I've been going to church for a lot of years. I have seen a lot in the church and I've kept my mouth shut a lot. I would like to state a disclaimer that this video is not to attack anyone personally. I am just speaking on my personal experiences that I have had within the church. I am a strong prophetic Christian woman and I rely heavily on my faith and my relationship with God. I find it comical as a Christian that when you try to confront somebody or you question something about their lifestyle, they instantly throw the book at you. You're supposed to be a Christian. You're not supposed to judge me. You're not supposed to talk bad about me. You're not supposed to this. What blows my mind is, yes, I am exactly that. I am a Christian. I base my standards on biblical principles and Christian values. I understand that the Bible states that leaders are held to much higher standards as referenced in James 3:1. Why is it that when I confront you, when I see a problem, that you instantly are offended with me? Why is it that when I confront you with truth, you have to hit me with insult and you have to degrade me because you feel inferior and scared and shallow? Here I am crying again. It blows my mind that leaders in the church can be so carnal and so driven by money and greed and wealth and defense. I don't understand how you can walk into church every single week and worship yourselves and your idols. Growing up, I thought Christianity was something entirely different, and I am seeing now, it is very, very evident to me that this is a normal church for people. I tried to deny it my whole life, and you know what? I didn't want to believe that the church was cruel, that the church was carnal. We are to be more as Christians. We need to understand that there is a huge difference between religion and relationship. This is not a clock in, clock out system. You don't just show up and put your hand out in order to receive something. That's not what Jesus did. Jesus came here and gave up 33 years of his life so that he could die. He knew that he was going to die. He didn't have his hand out waiting for a prize. He knew that he was going to endure hell on earth for 33 years and that he would die. Can you imagine living your life for 30 years knowing that you're putting your hand out for millions of people who hate you, who want to slaughter you, who don't like you because of one thing that you choose to believe that's different than them? We need to understand the difference between fear-driven and faith-driven. Are you motivated by anxiety? Are you motivated by your fears? Are you motivated by your nightmares? Or are you motivated by faith? What are you allowing to drive your lifestyle? What do you choose to be driven by? Fear or faith? What motivates you? Do you understand the difference? How about carnality versus maturity? Are you so fueled by your emotions and less by faith that you act on instinct, that you react in a moment of anger and hatred? I know that's how I used to live. I can honestly tell you that that's how I used to live. I had to learn hard and quick. I am married to my best friend, and if I want to keep that marriage, I needed to learn how to separate my carnality, and I had to grow in maturity to be the wife that God expects me to be. Do you understand the difference between ignorance and intellect? Do you understand that we receive wisdom when God downloads into us? When you're going to a church, make sure that you are surrounding yourself with true, genuine Christians that have a heart and 100% dedication and focus to God at all times, because if your leaders get derailed, you will become derailed. If God is telling you to leave a church for specific reasons, you have to listen to that innate voice. If a church is money hungry, you will see it. If a church is distracted and has other priorities than God, you will see it. You will see a church go from a flourishing, happy, positive, beautiful family to something that really isn't even existent anymore. As a leader in the church, I would be held accountable to what I know. And you know what I know? I know that there are people who don't go to church today because of faulty leadership. I know that there are people at home today suffering, wishing that they could be a part of a community, but they don't want to get screwed over and they don't want to get hurt. And I have friends and family who won't step foot into a church because they lived through situations exactly like this. And if I don't speak up, I fear that as Christians, our standards will be lowered. The Bible calls us to be a part of a body, of a church. You know, I am the vine, you are the branches, and that's how it works. But some people would rather have church at home through the internet than going into a physical building because they don't want to be judged on how they dress or how they talk or how they look or how they act or their past. You know, what's a shame is we all come through the doors as sinners, but it's so interesting how the wrong leadership can instantly peg you, title you, label you, and kind of form their own belief around who you are without even getting to know you as a human being on a personal level. I was gonna hold back, but I can't. I'm just gonna be really honest with you guys. I'm making this video because I went through a horrendous ordeal. I went through a horrific ordeal today, and you know, when people use those words, it's easy to instantly think they're dramatizing the situation, but you let me know if I'm crazier than I am. I'm completely at a loss. I can't believe that this actually just happened. I chose to meet a friend at a cafe. She received some information that she didn't want to hear today, so her first instinct was to physically assault me. She grabbed my wrist in the middle of the restaurant. I went into this meeting praying and begging God for the last 2 weeks for a spirit of protection, that the Holy Spirit would just flow through my words, that everything that I did would be honored by God in this situation. And I went in, we started catching up, and then she received information that she did not want to hear. I'm a very blunt and open and honest person. My delivery can come across a little bit harsh. I found it interesting that her first mode of defense was to, one, attack me and then accuse me. And then when I got up because I didn't want to hear it anymore, it was nonsense, she grabbed my wrist. She grabbed the fabric on my wrist and turned it around and wouldn't let it go. And so I ripped that away. Well, then she grabbed my wrist and started to twist it. And I'm like, I'm yelling at her in the middle of this cafe. We are in public. And I started to cry because I really started to lose control. I didn't know what to do. The old Tara, my first mode of defense would have been just to pop her right in the face, and I chose with dignity and respect to just rip my arm away at that point because I could not believe. I said, we are in a public place. I could not believe that she had taken it that far to be abusive and aggressive in public. This is why people leave the church. It's because of faulty leadership. You know, if you go into a church and you're not getting along with somebody right now, that's not God's fault. They're struggling with some carnal issues and they need to work that out with God. Don't ever allow that to break up your relationship with God or to not trust Him because someone else is not walking the walk and talking the talk. It's so easy and evident to see when greed takes over someone's life. And what's interesting is someone who's greedy and prideful and arrogant, all they're going to say to someone like me is that I'm jealous, you're crazy, it's all in your head. You're using past hurts and offenses to make up how you feel about me. No, I'm telling you flat out, it is so easy to see. At least for me, I don't know, I can't speak for other people, but it's not acceptable. And if you guys in leadership are allowing this to happen and you are allowing your staff to treat members of your congregation, better yet, ex-members of your congregation this way, you should be ashamed of yourself. You will fail. Your church will not succeed because this is not biblical, it's not Christ-like, and it's not honorable, it's not loyal. You decide how to live out your life, and your actions in your life will reflect how you live. This is a big, huge discussion. So if you guys have any questions or comments or want to share your experiences, please leave them in the comments below. If we allow our standards to become the standards of the world, if we choose to accept the standards of the world, then we are not living as true Christians that Jesus Christ called us to be. I don't like to make videos that don't serve productive purposes, and I like to throw the drama out with the trash, but I fear if I don't speak up, then as Christians we will allow our standards to be lowered as a whole. And if we lower our standards, then we aren't doing our jobs as true Christians. We are allowing the enemy to win. Leaders are held to much higher standards. I understand I'm probably going to lose subscribers for this. There are going to be a lot of churches who do not agree with my opinion. One, because I'm a woman. Two, because I don't have a lot of experience. If you lack the understanding that Christianity is anything less than a friendship or a relationship with Jesus Christ, then you are part of the problem. It's 2016, and it's time that we say no more to the legalistic, self-righteous, entitled. Why are we as Christians and as people accepting this from the church? So many people that I know personally who don't go to church because of the people in the church. You know what I'm gonna tell you that I told exactly to my pastor? I don't go to church for people. If I went to church for people, they would disappoint me and I wouldn't have a relationship with God. You can't place your trust in other individuals because they will break it. Only God is the resolution. And when you can understand that, friendships have an entirely new meaning. Relationships hold something so much more than just carnality and flesh wants and desires. Why are we still accepting legalities and contingencies within the church? Why are there still biases and prejudices within the church? Why are we still accepting the nonsense within the church? The self-righteous individuals who think and treat you like property instead of friends. Why are we still accepting the lies, the hypocrisy, the fact that leadership places other gods over Jesus Christ? Leaders and pastors, if you're going to back your congregation into a corner and place monetary value over their life instead of truly caring about their Christianity, then your church is going to fail. Whether you go to church or not, it is not acceptable that there are churches in our community that are placing standards over our life based on our sinful past. Church is there for redemption. We are there to receive salvation, growth and renewal, cleansing. This whole thing makes me so sad. Where are your heads? You know, this isn't just a fun social club where everybody shows up on Sunday and has just this famous rock star friend named Jesus in common. Why are churches not open 24/7? Why are churches turning people away at the door when they need help? Why are churches not rising leaders up who are pursuing this as their passion, as their career, because they are in love with Jesus Christ and everything that he has done over their life? Leaders, pastors, elders, deacons, deaconesses, you have all been called to more. You have all been called to greater standards. Did you know that it is 2016 and less than 17% of the church, including pastors and leaders, read the Bible on a consistent basis? Less than 17%. How can you live out a life of Jesus Christ if you don't know him? I'm not a leader within the church. You know, that's a huge responsibility. So because of that, I don't want my fellow leaders thinking that I'm just here to attack you or, you know, this isn't for everybody. This message is not for everybody. This message is for the individuals who show up to church every single week, lying to the people in their congregation day after day after day, and they go to sleep at night living with themselves and everything is okay in their world. So don't think that I'm here to lecture everybody, but you know what? It's time that we talk about this. Why do we still see leaders in the church messing around, having affairs, gossiping, choosing to place greed and money and idols above Jesus Christ? Why does this happen? Because sin is in the church. If you go to church for people, you will be disappointed. You know, I will say this, Pastor Chris, our good friend Chris, if you're watching this, thank you. He said once, you can't expect lost people to act lost. And how true is that if they're walking in sin? And you know, the enemy wants us to sit here and rip apart other people. That's what he wants. He wants us to attack other people and leaders within the church. We were going through a horrific thing months ago, and I didn't come forward then because, you know what? It's not my place. I'm not here to create drama or strife within a church. I just remove myself from the situation like God said, and hopefully everything will be peaceful. But you know what? Some people just can't close the doors. So I will say it again. There is a lot that you are not hearing and that you are not seeing because I'm choosing to respect the other people involved, and this is not a situation where I'm going to be vindictive or hurtful or spiteful even. I just feel strongly that it is my responsibility to come forward because I know that other people like you are living through these experiences. If we're going to experience revival and see God work face to face, firsthand, we cannot tolerate this any longer. It's 2016. as a Christian, as a church, we need to start expecting and demanding more from our leaders. If you are following under leadership that is contrary to scripture and biblical values and principles, then you need to get out. It's really easy to be vulnerable in a church and let your guard down and make friends, and you know, the enemy can easily use that against you. Honestly, I'm just really disappointed. I am not a leader in a church, and you know, I don't need a title, and I don't want a title. I just want to be able to go to church and pray with people and inspire people and be their friend. You know, if someone comes to me and has the confidence to share with me about their past hurts, that does not give me the authority to use that against them later in a conversation. There are so many things that are just not okay. If you are attending a church and your church is making you feel inferior, or if they have a strict set requirement of how much you are supposed to be tithing every single month, that's wrong. If you are in a church that is completely chaotic and not functioning at all, in fact, if it's dying down, there's a problem. Thank you guys so much for listening to me rant. There might be a few more of these videos. I will have a product review video coming within the next couple of days. Don't forget about Faith Inspiration Fridays that begin on September 30th of this month. I'm starting with the Bible study Be Rebellious by Megan Clinton. It is amazing. It's an incredible book. This is my first year on YouTube, so my channel and my videos are not exactly consistent with what I started out with, and you know what? Thank goodness for that, right? It's so wonderful when you can see people grow, and I think it's great to watch people grow and change and experience life in new ways. And so this is just you guys watching me blossom into Tara, who I am, the complete total package of terahrized, and I think I might cry because it's been a journey. And you know what? I am so thankful and blessed to have you guys tag along. So if you guys want to keep up with me and the family, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. I hope that I left you guys with encouragement and positivity, and I hope that I can bring light to any situation that you guys might be going through. So yeah, with that said, I'm a Christian, not a doormat, but I will always be here for friendship, love, and advice if you need me. Thanks for hanging out with me today, listening to me vent, and hopefully you guys can offer me a little bit of perspective and insight of what would you guys do in this situation? How the heck would you handle this situation? Go ahead and click that subscribe button down below, and I will see you in my next video. So I just want to share a little testimony with you guys. After I had that weird, crazy situation today, Matt decided he wanted to go to Chipotle for lunch. So we both walked in and we ordered our food, and from behind the counter, the guy completely covered our meal. The cashier was really, really nice and gave it to us on the house. I know that's crazy and those are like really small little things, but that's kind of how God works in our life. He's really random and spontaneous, and he just continues to show us that as we walk through life holding his hand, he takes care of us in even the smallest, littlest ways.